The story of the creation of Adam and Eve stands as one of the most influential narratives in human history. Found in the opening chapters of the book of Genesis, it forms the foundation of Judeo-Christian theology and has shaped religious belief, moral philosophy, art, literature, and human self-understanding for thousands of years. More than a literal account of the first man and woman, the creation story is a profound reflection on identity, purpose, freedom, love, and responsibility. The narrative answers timeless questions. Where did we come from? Why are we here? What does it mean to be human? Through symbolism and divine imagery, the creation of Adam and Eve explains not only the physical origins of humanity, but also the spiritual, moral, and relational nature of human existence. This essay explores the creation of Adam and Eve in depth, examining the biblical text, theological interpretations, symbolic meanings, philosophical implications, and enduring relevance in human society. Beside the biblical account of creation in Genesis, the creation of Adam and Eve appears primarily in Genesis chapters 1 and 2. These chapters present two complementary accounts of creation. In Genesis 1, God creates the universe in 6 days through divine command. Humanity is created last as the pinnacle of creation. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. This passage emphasizes equality, purpose, and divine image, portraying both man and woman as reflections of God's nature. In Genesis 2, the narrative becomes more intimate and detailed. God forms Adam from the dust of the ground and breathes life into him. Eve is later created from Adam's rib to be his companion. This account focuses on relationship, dependence, and unity. The creation of Adam formed from dust. Adam's creation begins with striking image. The use of dust symbolizes humility and mortality. Humanity is not divine by nature. Humans are formed from the earth and remain dependent on God. This serves as a reminder of human limitation and vulnerability. Yet God's breath transforms dust into a living being. This divine breath represents spirit, consciousness, and moral awareness. Adam is not merely alive biologically, he is spiritually awakened. The role of Adam. Adam is placed in the Garden of Eden to tend and keep it. Work, therefore, is not a punishment, but a divine responsibility. Adam is also given the authority to name the animals, symbolizing intellect, creativity, and stewardship over creation. However, despite paradise, Adam is incomplete. It is not good for the man to be alone. This declaration is significant. It is the first time something in creation is described as not good, revealing that human fulfillment requires relationship. Eve formed from Adam. God causes Adam to fall into a deep sleep and creates Eve from one of his ribs. This act carries deep symbolism. Eve is not created from Adam's head to rule over him, nor from his feet to be beneath him, but from his side to walk beside him as an equal. Eve's creation signifies companionship, unity, and mutual dependence. Adam recognizes this immediately. This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This moment establishes the foundation of human relationships, marriage, and community. The meaning of womanhood. Eve is described as a helper suitable for Adam. The word helper does not imply inferiority. The same term is often used to describe God as humanity's helper. Eve complements Adam emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. Together, Adam and Eve reflect the fullness of humanity. Alone, each is incomplete. Together, they form a harmonious whole. Life in the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden represents a state of perfect harmony between God, humanity, and nature. Adam and Eve live without shame, fear, or suffering. They enjoy direct communion with God and are free to eat from every tree except one, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This command introduces moral responsibility and free will. Free will and moral choice. The presence of the forbidden tree is essential to the creation narrative. Without choice, obedience would be meaningless. God grants humanity freedom because love requires choice. Adam and Eve are not forced into obedience, they are invited into trust. This freedom defines humanity's moral nature and sets the stage for ethical decision-making. Mate, symbolism in the creation narrative. A, the garden, symbolizes abundance, peace, and divine provision. B, the tree of life, represents eternal life and divine communion. C, the tree of knowledge, represents moral awareness and responsibility. Philosophical implications. The creation of Adam and Eve addresses fundamental philosophical concerns. Identity. Humans are intentional beings with purpose, meaning life is not accidental. Ethics. Morality originates from divine order. Under freedom, humans are responsible for their choices. Existential questions of alienation, purpose, and responsibility all find their roots in this narrative. Gender, equality, and human dignity. The Genesis account affirms equality between men and women. Both are created in God's image. Both receive authority over creation, and both share moral responsibility. Later misinterpretations that promote hierarchy contradict the original text's emphasis on partnership. Psychological dimensions. Adam and Eve's creation reflects human psychological needs, belonging, purpose, identity, and intimacy. The story explains why humans seek connection and struggle with loneliness. Cultural and artistic influence. From Michelangelo's creation of Adam to literature, poetry, and philosophy, this narrative has shaped human creativity and imagination for centuries. Modern relevance. In a world of technological advancement and moral uncertainty, the creation story remains relevant. It challenges humanity to remember its responsibility toward nature, relationships, and ethical living. Conclusion. Humanity's sacred beginning. The creation of Adam and Eve is a timeless declaration of human worth and purpose. It teaches that humanity is both humble dust and divine breath, fragile yet meaningful, free yet accountable. At its core, the story is about relationship between God and humanity, between man and woman, and between humanity and creation. Symbolism in the creation story. Dust and breath. Dust symbolizes mortality. Breath symbolizes divine life. Together, they represent the dual nature of humanity, physical and spiritual. The rib symbolizes unity, equality, and shared essence. The garden represents abundance, peace, and divine provision, a model of how life was meant to be lived. Philosophical interpretations. Philosophically, the creation of Adam and Eve addresses existential questions of identity and purpose. Humanity is portrayed as meaningful, intentional, and valuable. The story suggests that human dignity does not come from power, wealth, or intellect, but from being created in God's image. Gender and equality. Despite historical misinterpretations, the Genesis account affirms equality between men and women. Both are created in God's image. Both receive dominion over the earth, and both are morally accountable. The narrative emphasizes partnership rather than hierarchy. The fall and its implications. Brief context. While the creation story focuses on innocence, it also sets the stage for the fall. The eventual disobedience of Adam and Eve introduces sin, suffering, and separation from God. However, this does not negate the goodness of creation. It highlights humanity's need for redemption. Modern relevance. Even in a scientific age, the story remains relevant. It speaks to issues of identity, environmental responsibility, relationships, and moral choice. It reminds humanity that progress without wisdom leads to destruction. The narrative challenges modern individuals to reflect on their relationship with God, others, and the world. Conclusion. The creation of Adam and Eve is far more than a historical or religious account. It is a timeless exploration of what it means to be human. Through dust and breath, solitude and companionship, freedom and responsibility, the story reveals humanity's origin, dignity, and purpose. It teaches that humans are both fragile and divine, flawed yet meaningful, free yet accountable. At its heart, the creation narrative is a story of love, a God who creates not out of necessity. Overall, The creation of Adam and Eve presents humanity as both physical and spiritual, free yet accountable and designed for relationship, purpose, and ethical living. Understanding the creation of Adam and Eve is not merely about understanding the past. It is about understanding who we are, why we exist, and how we are called to live.